Tonight on To The Point, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz becomes Vice President Harris's running mate. Tonight, how Californians are reacting. Plus, Intel planning to lay off thousands of people. We ask, could it impact the Folsom campus? A push to lower PG&E bills, the option West Sacramento is considering for customers. And later, why Native American tribes are once again asking universities to return their artifacts. First, on To The Point, we're following some difficult breaking news in Stockton. Police say a 2-year-old is in the hospital after being shot. Police responded to North Commerce Street for reports of a shooting around 2:30 this afternoon. By the time officers arrived, the child was already taken to a nearby hospital. The 2-year-old is listed in stable condition. It's unclear at this point what led up to the shooting, but investigators say it appears to be accidental. We have a crew at the scene, and we will bring you the latest as we get it. Thank you for joining us on To The Point. I'm Becca Hoppiger. Alex Bell has the night off. Tonight, in the race for the White House, Vice President Kamala Harris has announced Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her vice presidential pick, challenging former President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance in November. Vice President Kamala Harris and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, appeared for their first time as a ticket at a rally in Philadelphia, just hours after Harris made her final VP decision.
To his former high school football players, he was coach. And in 91 days, the nation will know Coach Walz by another name, Vice President of the United States.
Over those next 91 days and every day in the White House, I'll have Vice President Harris's back every single day.
Harris made the choice at rapid speed in the 2 weeks since President Biden dropped out, praised by a cross-section of the Democratic Party, from progressives to moderates.
She had someone in Tim Walz that, one, she trusted, two, that she saw as someone that's going to bring something else to this ticket in a big way, and that is Midwest.
President Biden called both Harris and Walz Tuesday. The vice president, sources familiar with the decision tell ABC News, is drawn to Walz's Midwestern roots, his executive experience as governor, and his background, a former teacher, longtime member of the U.S. Army National Guard, and congressman with a history of supporting blue-collar issues. Walz, also known for his plain-spoken campaign style, has popularized a new criticism of former President Trump and his running mate Senator J.D. Vance, calling them weird.
You do not need your elected officials to give you a sermon, and these guys are weird on how they frame it.
The Trump campaign calls Walz dangerously liberal, the former president posting simply "thank you" on social media. Vance, holding his own campaign event in Philadelphia, reacted to his new opponent.
But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party, which is what she always does.
The Harris campaign is expected to use Walz to appeal to Rust Belt voters in must-win states like Michigan and Wisconsin. Harris and Walz are expected to visit 6 more battleground states over the next 5 days. Governor Newsom reacted to the announcement today in a statement on X, saying in part, quote, Tim Walz is about doing the right thing, whether it's free school meals or standing up against gun violence. He's never been intimidated. He's about honor and decency and is exactly the right pick in a campaign about daylight versus darkness. And U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary and former California Congressman Xavier Becerra was in Sacramento County today. He previously worked with Walz and shared this about the VP candidate.
I served with Tim Walz in Congress. I've worked with Tim Walz as governor in Minnesota, and you know, that's what you want, is you want to see people who know how to lead, and you want to see people who will do the right thing. You take a look at their history. They do the right thing.
You can read more reaction from lawmakers and what our Verify team found after looking into claims about Governor Walz and his history on our website, abc10.com. Turning now to your price points, Intel is planning to lay off thousands of people. They're one of the biggest employers in Folsom, but will this impact the city? ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen has been looking into this all day and joins us in studio with the city's response. Jeannie.
Becca, last Thursday, Intel's CEO notified employees that the company plans on cutting 15,000 jobs by the end of this year. And after speaking to former employees today, these major layoffs are not new for Intel.
I went through this weird, like, oh crap, this really sucks, to, I was kind of excited.
After 3 decades at Intel in Folsom, Jeff Galanowski didn't intend to have a fresh start so soon after he was laid off in June.
I felt like Intel stopped caring about its employees about, 10, 15 years ago.
And Galanowski says the latest round of layoffs illustrates that's still the case now. Last week, Intel's CEO sent this letter to employees announcing 15% or 15,000 positions would be cut by the end of the year in an attempt to save $10 billion.
When it comes to Wall Street and shareholders, they obviously want to see better margins. They want to see better earnings. They want to see better revenues.
Intel would not grant our request for an interview Tuesday, and it's unclear how many people from which campuses will be laid off. Earlier this year, the Biden administration provided $8.5 billion in direct funding to Intel through the CHIPS Act to advance semiconductor projects. Sources tell ABC 10 Intel has yet to receive that money. Until then, finance experts believe cutting costs with the workforce is the only reasonable way to go.
Intel stock still hasn't gone back to where it used to be in the year 2000.
This week, Intel has started what they're calling an enhanced retirement offering for eligible employees to voluntarily leave. But Galanowski believes this should be a major learning lesson for those at the top.
It's not the employees that you're letting go, this 10, 15, 18%. They're not your problem. It's leadership, and it starts at the top, and that's where you need to clean house. Otherwise, Intel's not going to recover from this.
The city of Folsom has not received any warn notices regarding any layoffs at that Folsom campus, but a spokesperson with the city tells us, in short, it is dedicated to fostering an environment that continues to attract and retain a diverse range of tech enterprises. To see their full statement, you can head over onto our website at abc10.com. Becca.
Yeah, and Jeannie, these layoffs come as uncertainty remains on Wall Street. The stock market was up today after it experienced its worst day in nearly 2 years yesterday. Investors continue to have a long list of concerns, including high interest rates, a disappointing jobs report, and tensions in the Middle East. The so-called Magnificent Seven, that's a cohort of tech stocks, including Apple and Google, had a not-so-magnificent day, losing more than $650 billion in value. But experts say, don't panic.
The data that we've seen so far, to us at least, is more suggestive of an economic growth slowdown during the balance of the year, rather than an outright recession.
Some analysts now predict the Fed will cut rates by 0.5 point before the end of this year. The Fed is expected to meet in the middle of September. Well, tonight, evacuations remain in effect for parts of Tehama, Butte, Plumas, and Shasta counties due to the Park Fire. CAL FIRE says the fire, which is now the 4th largest wildfire in the state, has burned more than 414,000 acres. It's currently at 34% contained. At least 640 structures are destroyed. And new tonight, a man stabbed in the face over the weekend in Arden Arcade has died. It happened Sunday morning in the area off El Camino and Howe Avenues. 2 unhoused men were stabbed in the face and then taken to the hospital, a man in his 60s and a man in his 30s. The younger man was in critical condition and died this morning in the hospital. Detectives are still working to identify a suspect in the attacks. And a man is hospitalized following a shooting on Fruit Ridge Road near Wallace Avenue in Sacramento. Police say a 16-year-old has been arrested and booked into juvenile detention. It happened around 5:30 this morning, and it's unclear what led up to the shooting. Well, happening now, communities across the area are gathering for National Night Out. It's an annual event promoting police-community partnerships, and this is what is happening in North Natomas tonight. Neighbors are meeting law enforcement and the U.S. Army. There's also live entertainment, food, and activities for the kids. This particular event goes until 8:30. However, they're all across our area. Stockton, Fairfield, many other communities in our area are hosting similar events tonight, including in my neighborhood, Colonial Heights. Still ahead, on To The Point, lowering PG&E power bills, how West Sacramento leaders think they could make it happen.
Near triple-digit heat in Sacramento, but downtown reached 104 100s across the valley. How long these triple digits are sticking around.
And later, returning artifacts, why Native American tribes are once again asking for a piece of their history back from universities and colleges. ABC 10 meteorologist Carly Gomez joins us. Carly, still very hot, but I hear we have a cool down in the future.
We do. Something to look forward to. We're just getting through these triple-digit temperatures, and we're still feeling that heat tonight with 100-degree temperatures up and down the valley. 99 Sacramento Executive Airport, but we hit 104 today at downtown Sacramento. Elevated fire risk is going to continue midweek due to the dry conditions out there, but also some wind gusts picking into our evening hours, but moderate heat risk is expected throughout the week. Unfortunately, as we get through another triple-digit day tomorrow, the temperatures are still going to be in the upper 90s the rest of the week and into the weekend. But the cooling trend does arrive next week. Starting Sunday, we'll see the move from upper 90s to about mid to low 90s. We could even see some upper 80s in the forecast the following week. Now, we've been tracking the Park Fire's growth here, the fourth largest wildfire in California's history. At 414,000 acres, only 34% contained. Luckily, to the areas north, the winds are still lighter, about 10 miles per hour, but within that zone itself could create its own winds picking up, especially through the tough terrain. Humidity, though, has improved in the overnight hours. Unfortunately, in the coming days, we're seeing it down to the single digits. High pressure overhead bringing us those hot conditions that'll continue over the next few days, but the lows, they're just offshore, waiting to move in, bringing us some cooler temperatures next week. A little bit of smoke and haze over our area. We've been seeing this for a little bit of time now, about a couple of weeks, and at that, foothills have been getting it a little worse as it settles from the valley into the foothills overnight. An inversion layer happening there, and the wind gusts about 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts into our evening hours Wednesday night and Thursday night. Now, our 500 millibar chart showing hot temperatures, but the cool down on the way next week as we see triple digits to upper 90s in the next 3 days, then dropping down to the low 90s Sunday to upper 80s that following week.
Oh, that cool down looks so good. Thank you, Carly. Well, next, on to the point. West Sacramento considers bidding farewell to PG&E. Sort of. But what that means and how city leaders say it could save folks money. Plus, why Native American tribes are requesting their artifacts back from the university system again. Welcome back. West Sacramento could soon be changing the way PG&E customers there pay for electricity. It comes as a growing number of cities throughout the state are turning to something called community choice aggregation to reduce high energy costs. ABC 10's Luke Clary is breaking down what this means and why West Sacramento could become the next city to join.
Under the California sunshine, many PG&E customers feel like they're getting burned.
PG&E's rate hikes are inhumane.
You're calling this a crisis?
Yeah, I'm calling it a crisis.
So, West Sacramento Mayor Martha Guerrero has asked her city council to explore membership in Pioneer Community Energy, a local not-for-profit provider of electricity.
And a choice.
And they have a number of cities that are participating. They said they have good results, they've lowered bills, they showed us data. And I thought, well, you know, we don't have anything else at this point.
This is just the beginning.
The concept here is that West Sacramento would buy its energy in bulk and then try to pass on savings to its constituents.
That's fundamentally right.
Steve Weissman is a lecturer at the UC Berkeley Goldman School of Public Policy. He says community choice aggregators like Pioneer Energy are gaining in popularity across the state. There are now 25 of them. Aggregators are different from utilities like SMUD. They don't own the poles and wires. They still rely on PG&E to move the power along and make repairs.
Do they end up saving customers money?
It's a mixed story. In most instances, they are able to.
In most cases, he says, prices can be a little cheaper, but there are other benefits. Local governments work with the nonprofit, not PG&E, to reach other goals, such as the move toward more renewable energy.
So people in the community are really interested in trying to be cleaner and more environmentally responsible. There's an opportunity to do more things to get there.
Raising this question,
what can we do to address reducing the rates?
The city of West Sacramento could be looking toward a not-for-profit answer.
State data show some 14 million customers throughout California are served by these community choice aggregators, and that number is expected to grow, although it could take another 2 to 3 years before West Sacramento could fully get on board. Now, we reached out to PG&E for comment. They responded by saying, part, we respect the energy choices that are available to our customers and will continue to cooperate with local governments as they consider pursuing and or developing a CCA program. It's important to remember that if a customer becomes a CCA FCA customer, they are still a PG&E customer. You can read PG&E's full statement on abc10.com. Right now, thousands of students across our area are heading back to school. And at Lincoln Unified School District, students will now have to follow a no cell phone policy. It applies for all students, schools, and grade levels in the district. Under the new policy, phones must be turned off throughout the day, and students will be required to place their devices in an identified space at the start of class. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. High school students are allowed to use cell phones before and after school, during passing periods, and at lunchtime. Students who use their phones as medical devices will also be able to maintain access. Now, if a student is caught using a phone during class, consequences range from calls home to having their phone confiscated. You can read more about the policy on our website, abc10.com. Well, there's a new push in the state legislature to ban certain food additives from school lunches. The California Food Safety Act, or AB 2316, would prohibit schools from serving foods that contain 6 types of synthetic food dyes and titanium dioxide. The bill is based on research done by the California Environmental Protection Agency. It found some food dyes can result in hyperactivity and other neurobehavioral problems in some children.
This bill is not a ban on any foods. It is not a ban on any products. We do not believe that a single product is going to come off the shelf here. The point of this bill is to encourage manufacturers to make minor modifications to their recipes so that they can serve these same foods that we all love, that our kids love, but without these dangerous chemicals that harm people.
Right now, the bill is making its way through the state Senate. It would need to pass through the legislature and be on the governor's desk by the end of this month in order to move forward. Well, Native American tribes are requesting their artifacts back from the University of California and California State University systems. This is now the 3rd audit and attempt for items to be returned. ABC 10's Devin Truby was in the meeting today where the state's auditor gave an update.
That's all we're asking, is that they be given back, folks. That's all we're asking.
Native American leaders finding themselves once again disappointed by the results of now a 3rd state audit into the University of California and California State University systems regarding the return of Native American remains and artifacts to tribes. Latest audit showing lack of compliance.
It's ongoing personal trauma, it's ongoing collective trauma to our tribal community.
The law requiring repatriation went into effect in 1990, but the state audit revealed CSUs have only returned 6% of items. Half the CSUs have returned nothing, and across all campuses, more than half are unsure of the extent of their collections. Assemblymember James C. Ramos, who is Native American, says it's time for accountability and consequences.
How are you complying with repatriation to California's first people and the nation's first people? That should be a first question when people are asking for more budgets within the educational arena.
ABC 10 looked into our local campuses. According to the UC Repatriation Dashboard, Davis has returned more than half of the human remains and returned 49,000 of 56,000 artifacts.
UC Davis anticipates repatriating all known Native American ancestors by June 2027.
Sacramento State had the 3rd largest collection of items with 115,000, according to the state audit in 2022, with only 5% returned. Sac State says they have returned more than 85% of ancestral remains, but didn't clarify in regards to total number of items.
I am deeply sorry for us at the Cal State for doing this horrendous thing for so many years.
Reporting in Sacramento, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
The committee will continue to monitor the progress over the next 5 years. The CSU system is also looking into a dashboard like the UC's and community colleges have yet to be audited, so that also needs to be addressed. Stay with us. We're back with an investigation update after this break. New tonight, only on ABC 10, California Assemblymember Josh Hoover sat down with us today after he called for an investigation into SeaQuest, a popular zoo and aquarium in Folsom. Hoover said he was alarmed at the allegations and evidence presented by former SeaQuest employees in our investigation. Concerns like parasites and disease being spread at SeaQuest, as well as food being withheld from animals.
I do appreciate the people that have come forward and shared their stories, because I think at the very least we need to make sure that if Sequest continues to operate in Folsom, that it's taking care of their animals, that it's feeding their animals, that it's making sure that their animals are in the best shape and the healthiest that they can be. That's good for the animals. It's also better for the public that is visiting them. So I think that's the ultimate goal.
Last week, the Assembly member sent a letter to California's Department of Fish and Wildlife asking them to investigate Sequest. Fish and Wildlife told ABC 10 they have done multiple inspections over the last year, but found no issues. Hoover said he hopes his request elevates the issues employees brought forward. Well, if you have something you think we should be looking into, please send the team an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.